I work security in an office building downtown. 20 floors, glass walls, motion sensors everywhere. At night, the place is supposed to be empty. No employees, no cleaners, just me, a desk, and a lot of cameras. My shift starts at midnight. Most nights are boring. I walk the floors, check locked doors, drink bad coffee, wait for sunrise. This night started normal. At 1:17 a.m., one of the motion sensors tripped. Floor 14. That was strange. Floor 14 had been closed for renovations for months. No furniture, no power except emergency lights, no reason for movement. I checked the camera feed. Nothing. Empty hallway, flickering lights, dusk on the floor. No shadows, no people. Probably a sensor glitch. At 1:24 a.m., the sensor tripped again. Same floor. This time, the camera flickered when I switched to it. The hallway was still empty, but something felt off. The emergency lights were on, but they were brighter than usual, almost too bright. I grabbed my flashlight and took the elevator up. The doors opened to silence. No hum of air vents, no distant traffic noise, just quiet. I stepped out and immediately noticed the smell. Dust and something else. Old, stale, like a room that hadn't been opened in years. My footsteps echoed too loudly. Halfway down the hallway, my radio crackled. Static. Then a voice. "Don't come closer." It was my voice. Same tone, same cadence. I froze. "Who's on this channel?" I asked. Silence. I told myself it was interference, stress, night shift paranoia. I kept walking. That's when I saw the footprints. Fresh. Clear shoe prints in the dust leading away from me. They stopped in front of an office door at the end of the hall. The door was labeled 14B. That office didn't exist on the floor plans. I raised my hand to knock. Before I touched the door, it opened. Inside was another hallway, longer than a building should allow. No windows, just rows of office doors on both sides. The lights inside were fully on, too clean, too new. Behind me, the door to the real hallway closed. I turned back. The hallway I'd come from was gone, just a wall. My radio crackled again. "You always make it this far," my voice said calmly. My heart was pounding. Where am I? A door at the far end of the hallway opened. Someone stepped out. Me. Same uniform, same badge, same tired look in my eyes. He smiled. "You're late," he said. "I was starting to think you'd finally quit." "What is this place?" I whispered. He glanced at the doors lining the hallway. "It's where we put the ones who stay too long." He stepped closer. That's when I noticed something wrong. His badge number was mine, but scratched out. "I need to go back," I said. He nodded sympathetically. That's what I said, too. The lights flickered. Suddenly, I was standing alone in the elevator. Doors closing. My radio was silent. The display showed I was going down. When the elevator reached the lobby, the doors opened like nothing had happened. The desk, the cameras, normal. I sat there shaking until morning. At sunrise, my replacement showed up. He looked at me funny. "Rough night?" I nodded. "Hey, how long have I worked here?" He frowned. "You don't remember? Just tell me." He checked the schedule pinned to the wall. "You replaced the last night guard, the one who disappeared." My stomach dropped. "When?" He shrugged. "About 6 months ago." I looked at the schedule. My name was listed. Under previous guard, written in faded ink, was the same name again, scratched out. I worked nights at a small call center that handled emergency maintenance for apartment buildings. Broken elevators, power outages, flooding. Not police, not medical, just the calls that happened when people didn't know who else to call. From midnight to 6 a.m., I was usually alone. Most nights were dead. A leaky pipe here, a locked door there. I answered, logged the issue, called the on-call technician, and waited. At 2:08 a.m., a call came in from a number marked internal. That was strange. Internal calls only came from inside the building. Supervisors, IT, security, none of them worked nights. I answered. Maintenance dispatch? No response. Just a faint clicking sound, like someone pressing buttons slowly. Hello? I said. A breath came through the line, soft, careful. Then a woman whispered, "Can you hear me?" "Yes," I said. "Who's calling?" She didn't answer right away. When she spoke again, her voice shook. "I'm in the stairwell," she said. "The lights went out. I can't get out." I pulled up the building list. "Which building?" She hesitated. "The one you're in." My stomach tightened. "I'm not in an apartment building. This is an office." Another pause. "That's not what it looks like from here," she said. I laughed nervously. "Ma'am, what floor are you on?" "I don't know," she whispered. "The numbers are scratched off." I started typing notes even though my hands felt cold. "Can you see a door number? Anything?" "There's writing on the wall," she said. "What does it say?" She took a shaky breath. "It says, 'Do not answer the phone.'" The line went dead. I stared at the screen. No caller ID, no recording saved. Odd, because all calls were automatically recorded. I told myself it was a prank, someone bored, someone with a good imagination. At 2:21 a.m., the phone rang again. Same internal line. I hesitated, then answered. The woman was crying now. "They're closer," she said. "I hear footsteps." "Who?" I asked. "You," she said. Before I could respond, the call ended. I checked the call logs. Both calls were marked as outgoing, from my extension. My chair creaked as I leaned back. "Okay," I muttered. "Not funny." At 2:34 a.m., my computer chimed. A new audio file appeared on my desktop. No file name, just a timestamp. 2:08 a.m. I hadn't downloaded anything. Against my better judgment, I clicked it. It was the first call. My voice came through the speakers. Calm, professional. Maintenance dispatch? Then silence. Then the clicking. Then the woman's whisper. When she said, "Can you hear me?" my breath caught, because underneath her voice, I could hear another sound. Breathing. Not mine. Right next to the microphone. The audio kept playing. When she said, "I'm in the stairwell," I heard a faint echo, like the sound was recorded in a narrow concrete space. When she said, "The one you're in," I heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, coming closer. I slammed the laptop shut. At 2:47 a.m., my office lights flickered, just once. Then my phone rang. Internal line. I didn't answer. The voicemail indicator lit up. A second later, another audio file appeared on my desktop. 2:47 a.m. I didn't open it. Instead, I grabbed my jacket and stood up. That's when I noticed something I hadn't before. The stairwell door at the end of the office hallway. It was open. The lights inside were off. Black. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A notification. New voicemail 1. I didn't listen. I walked past the stairwell without looking inside and went straight to the exit. Outside, the night air felt unreal, too open, too quiet. I sat in my car for a long time before driving home. I quit the next morning, didn't give notice, didn't explain. I tried to forget about it, and I almost did. Until last night. At 2:08 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail. I opened it. It was my voice, whispering, "Can you hear me?" And somewhere in the background, a phone was ringing. I took the last bus home because it was cheaper and because I'd done it before. Midnight route, almost empty, the kind of ride where everyone keeps their head down and pretends not to exist. The bus stop was a single pole on a dark stretch of road. No shelter, no lights, just trees and the sound of insects. When the bus finally pulled up, I was the only one waiting. Inside, there were maybe 4 passengers scattered far apart. The driver didn't look back when I boarded. He just nodded once and closed the door. The bus moved on. For the first 20 minutes, nothing happened. The road was familiar. The hum of the engine was steady. I watched my reflection in the window, stretched thin by the darkness outside. Then the bus stopped. Not at a stop. No sign, no pole. Just the middle of the road. The doors opened with a sigh. No one got on. The driver waited a few seconds, then closed the doors and kept going. I leaned forward. "Is everything okay?" He didn't answer. A few minutes later, the bus stopped again. Same thing. Middle of nowhere, doors open, silence, doors close. That's when I noticed something off. The number of passengers hadn't changed, but their positions had. The man who'd been sitting near the back was now 2 rows closer to me. The woman across the aisle was gone. I told myself she must have gotten off, I just hadn't noticed. But I was watching. The bus stopped again. Doors opened. This time, I heard footsteps. Slow, careful. Someone got on. I couldn't see them. The aisle behind me stayed dark, like the lights refused to reach that far back. The doors closed. The bus moved. I felt it then. Someone sitting directly behind me, close enough that I could feel warmth through the seat. I didn't turn around. A minute passed. Then a voice whispered, right by my ear, "You missed your stop." My throat tightened. I don't think so." Silence. The bus slowed. I looked up. The display above the driver flickered, then showed a stop name I didn't recognize. The bus stopped. The doors didn't open. Instead, the interior lights dimmed. The driver finally spoke, his voice flat and tired. "End of the line." "But this isn't my stop," I said. "You didn't announce it." He turned his head just enough that I could see his profile. "You did," he said. "You didn't answer." The person behind me leaned closer. I could hear their breathing now. Slow, patient. "You always do this. You wait too long." I stood up, heart pounding. "I want to get off." The driver nodded. "Then go." The rear doors opened. Cold air rushed in. Beyond the doors was nothing but darkness. No road, no ground I could see, just a drop into black. "I can't," I said. The driver sighed. "Suit yourself." The doors closed. The bus started moving again. I sat back down, shaking. I checked my phone. No signal, no time. The screen was frozen on a notification from an hour ago. The person behind me chuckled softly. "Don't worry, it's easier the second time." I finally turned around. The seat was empty. The bus stopped one last time. This time, the doors opened on their own. Light spilled in. Streetlights, houses, a normal stop. Relief hit me so hard my knees felt weak. I rushed off the bus without looking back. As the bus pulled away, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. There was no route number on the back, just a faded sticker that read, "Returning passengers only." My phone buzzed. A missed call. Voicemail. I listened to it with shaking hands. It was my voice, breathing hard, saying, "I think I missed my stop." I was working the night shift at a small roadside motel off a nearly abandoned highway. 12 rooms, one vending machine that never worked, a front desk light that buzzed louder than the air conditioner. From midnight to sunrise, I was the only employee there. Most nights were dead quiet, truckers passing through, the occasional couple who didn't want to be seen. After 2 a.m., nothing happened. Ever. That's why the phone ringing at 3:12 a.m. made my stomach tighten. The front desk phone. No one calls the front desk at that hour. I picked it up. Hello? Static. Then breathing. Slow, shallow, like someone holding the phone too close to their mouth. Hello? I said. The breathing stopped. A few seconds passed, then a voice whispered, "Which room are you in?" I froze. "Sir, this is the front desk. If you need—" Click. The line went dead. I stared at the phone for a long moment, then laughed it off. Prank call. Someone bored. It happens. 10 minutes later, the phone rang again. Same number. Internal line. I answered slower this time. "Which room are you in?" the voice asked again. My heart started pounding. "Who is this?" Silence. Then, "I can hear you breathing." I slammed the phone down. I checked the security monitor. Grainy black and white footage from the hallway cameras. Every hallway was empty. No movement, no shadows, just flickering lights and carpet. At 3:30 a.m., the phone rang a third time. I didn't answer. Instead, I heard something else. Footsteps. Soft, slow, coming from the hallway behind the front desk. I held my breath and listened. The steps stopped right outside the office door. Then the handle turned. Locked. A pause. Then knocking. 3 gentle taps. "Front desk," a voice said softly. "I need help." I recognized the voice immediately. It was mine. Same tone, same tired sound I'd heard all night. I backed away from the door, my legs shaking. "This isn't funny," I said, my voice cracking. The voice on the other end chuckled. "You always say that." The handle rattled again, harder this time. Then silence. I stood there for what felt like forever before forcing myself to check the cameras again. The hallway outside my office was empty, but on the screen for room 6, the door camera was on. Room 6 had been empty all night. The door was open, and inside the room, someone was standing in the corner, facing the wall, not moving. The phone rang again, this time my cell phone, unknown number. Against every instinct I had, I answered it. "I checked out already," my voice said on the other end. "Why are you still here?" I whispered, "What do you want?" There was a smile in the voice now. "I just needed you to stay distracted." The security monitor flickered. Room 6's camera went black. And behind me, I felt breath on my neck.